You are watching this channel. This is a place where we talk about all things serial killers. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. And if you're a lurker, well, at least you're getting something out of what we do around here. In this video, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, and that's still living serial killers. Some of this may be incorrect or outdated. If you have any information to add, please do so in the comments below. Also, some of this stuff is pretty dark. I'm going to try to keep it as lighthearted as possible. He is serving multiple life sentences at the ADX Florence, in Florence, Colorado. Between 1970 and 2012, Samuel confessed to killing 93 people. Only 4 of those have been officially linked to him through DNA evidence. On February 28, 2002, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the second-degree murder of Deborah Husky. John was born on March 17, 1942. He was executed on May 10, 1994. John was convicted for the sexual assault and murder of 33 young men. He earned the nickname the Killer Clown after he performed at children's parties dressed as a clown. On April 18, 2002, he was sentenced to death for the murders of Timothy McLean and Michael Farmbray. On July 26, 2002, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of Alan Nations. John was also convicted of kidnapping and rape. Between 1984 and 2000, he kidnapped, raped, and murdered at least 8 men in South Padre Island, Texas. He became known as the Padre Island Strangler. In 2001, John was arrested for burglary. The police took his DNA. Their DNA matched some evidence from a previous case. They then charged him with the murders. He was tried for all 3 murders, and all 3 convictions stood. Right now, he sits on death row at the Alan B. Polunsky unit in Livingston, Texas. That was during the late 70s and early 80s. Many of his victims were lured to his home under the pretense of a job interview. Please remember that some of this stuff is very disturbing. If you have any information to add, please do so in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Once inside, he would bind, torture, and eventually kill them. Most of his victims died from asphyxiation. When his house was searched, they found a crawl space that contained many of the victims. Their bodies were found buried in the yard. Eventually, John admitted to 21 murders. He was convicted for 21 counts of murder. During his trial, he pleaded not guilty. But when the jury returned with a guilty verdict, he said, "I'd like to appeal, but it doesn't look like I'm going to make it." He was executed by lethal injection, and that was the end of the case. It's believed that he is responsible for over 15 murders, but only 3 of them have been confirmed. On May 3, 2001, he was sentenced to death for the murder of Angela Freeman. He was also convicted of attempted murder and armed robbery. His execution date has been set for November 15, 2022. Israel became known as the Times Square Killer after he terrorized New York City during the 1990s. His preferred method of killing was strangulation. He lived in a small apartment with his mother and sister. He used a floor safe in that apartment to store some of his victims. Some of his other victims were stored in a nearby hotel. Israel was eventually caught thanks to a witness. The woman saw him strangling a woman on a bridge. The police were able to put together a composite sketch, and that led to his arrest. His confirmed victims were all sex workers who were Roger was finally caught when a woman escaped his captivity. She told the police everything that happened to her. A warrant was issued for his arrest. Police found his fingerprints on the walls of the house where he kept the woman captive. They also found a link to one of his victims through his girlfriend. There was enough evidence to convict him for the murders. He's now 77 years old, so chances are he won't make it out alive. He was convicted for those 4 murders and was sentenced to life in prison. He was also linked to 50 other murders, but he was never charged because of health reasons. Samuel was unable to stand trial for the rest of the murders that he confessed to. In 2012, Samuel told investigators that he stopped killing in 2005. That was when his health started to deteriorate. Just to give you an idea of how prolific this guy was, he was dubbed the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history. But if you're easily disturbed, then I suggest you click off this video and go watch something on Disney Plus instead. He is serving 15 life sentences at the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla, Washington. Gary was convicted for the murders of 4 women, but it is suspected that he killed up 290 women. Between 1982 and 2001, he became known as the Green River Killer. He targeted sex workers, mostly African American or Native American. He would strangle them and then dump their bodies in secluded areas. In 2003, Gary confessed to 49 murders. He also gave investigators details about the killings that proved that he was responsible. Later on, his DNA was found on some of the victims, and that led to his conviction. Gary is now known as the worst serial killer in U.S. history. The reason why I like doing these videos in particular is because it is hard to find a lot of information about him. On December 19, 1983, he was sentenced to death in the 1981 murder of Mary Louise Zero Sullivan. As of right now, he remains on death row at San Quentin State Prison in California. Lawrence is also a suspect in at least 10 other homicides. He earned the nickname the Monster of the Everglades after he kidnapped, raped, mutilated, and killed several women in Florida. His modus operandi included abducting prostitutes, taking them to remote locations, and leaving them for dead. One of his victims survived the attack and was able to identify him in a lineup that led to his arrest and conviction. But it is believed that he could have gotten away with his other crimes if that victim didn't survive. Billy was born on January 12, 1972. He currently resides at the North Louisiana State Prison in Baines, Louisiana. In 2002, Billy was convicted for the first-degree murder of Jeremy Ricks. He was given the life sentences without the possibility of parole. It is believed that he is responsible for a string of murders from 1999 to 2001. He targeted his victims who were gay or bisexual. He would lure them into his van by pretending to be a police officer. Then he would take them to secluded areas and shoot them. To date, there are 7 confirmed victims, but it's suspected that there are more. A lot of times the only things that we have are their mug shots and maybe a little bit of a backstory. But other than that, not a lot of people want to report on these guys. So it kind of makes it harder for us to find out who they really are. And like I said, that's part of the reason why I like doing these videos. It's the mystery behind them, trying to piece together whatever limited amount of information that we can find. And then also trying to understand how someone becomes a serial killer. Now, before we get into this video, just so you know, this is my opinion, based on the information that I've gathered. Alright, let's meet our first subject. No. 436 Billy Mansfield. Subject No. 281 Samuel Little. Samuel was born on June 9, 1940. He is currently 82 years old. Number 3. 419 Gary Ridgway. Gary was born on August 4, 1948. He is currently 74 years old. No. 4. 287 Lawrence Singleton. Lawrence was born on September 1, 1946. He is currently 76 years old. Subject number 5. 441 Roger Comfort. Roger was born on May 22, 1945. He is currently 77 years old. Number 6. 398 John Wayne Gacy. No. 7. 357 Israel Keys. Israel was born on October 20th, 1961. He is currently 61 years old. No. 8394 John Rubley. John was born on January 28th, and that's all the information that I have for you today.